John Maxwell, a leadership guru, wrote, "Leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness." Leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. In other words, we can be effective up to a point, but if we don't learn how to lead others, eventually we're gonna cap our ability to have influence. So I've been able to kind of lead this church to a point, but I won't be able to lead the church beyond my capability. I've got to begin to develop leaders that can then develop other people so that we can have a greater impact. Not so that we can build my church or my kingdom or this church or this kingdom, but so that we can do the most possible for the Lord. Now, if God wants to bring us 100 people to our church or he wants to bring 500 people to our church is irrelevant. The goal for us is to just reach as many people as God wants to send our way, to be as effective as we can be. And so we want to build leaders that are able to help us accomplish this. So even though I'm trying to pour into you as leaders, I also want you pouring into other people and finding other leaders and developing them into leaders. I saw a t-shirt the other day on social media that said this. It said, "Build leaders, build groups, build disciples." And I was like, man, in a nutshell, that's exactly what we're trying to do at Grace Valley, where we want to build leaders, and then we're building our groups, our life groups and things, and we're building our dream team groups, people that are going to serve together, and then we're building disciples. And that's our goal, right? Our mission is to make disciples who know and make known Jesus. So the main idea I want us to get today is if you do everything yourself, you will eventually limit everything you lead. If you do everything yourself, you'll eventually limit everything you lead. There are times, Josiah is young and new in ministry-ish. He's been in ministry a long time, but at leading in ministry, and he's doing an incredible job. But one of the things I've told him many times is, I'm giving you more than you can do. Like your job, part of your job is to go out and get other people to help you do these things. Because we want to be developing other leaders. If you do everything yourself, you're eventually going to limit everything you lead. So my job as a pastor isn't just to be like, hey, I'm just going to have to do it all. My job is to say, who can we bring on to this? Jim Collins wrote a book called Good to Great years ago. And the idea is that you want to get the right people on the bus and in the right seats on the bus for the bus to be the most effective moving forward. And so you guys are guys that we're putting on our team. We're getting you on the bus to move forward. And we also want to get you into the right places, but we want to bring more people on. We want to get you leading other people. But if you do everything yourself, you're eventually going to limit everything you lead. I've asked Josh to be in charge of our tech ministry. Josh cannot show up on Sunday, run the production, run 2 or 3 cameras, have the sound system perfect, and do the slides all at the same time. He's going to have to run downstairs, move a camera, run upstairs, switch it to that camera, run back downstairs, switch the slide, then move the camera again. It's not feasible. So he's going to be limited if he doesn't learn how to lead others, which is what he's doing now. He's building a team and he's getting more people. And our goal on Sunday is to get more people added to that team. I had a guy come to me after church on Sunday and say, hey, that tech team you're talking about, he goes, I want to be a part of that. I'm like, that's awesome. And I think you hadn't left yet, but I couldn't find you when we were right there together. And I wanted to introduce him to you. But it's exciting to see people saying, I want to be a part of that, because Josh can't do it all himself. And so we want to get more people involved. But there are some common traps that you as coaches might fall into. It's faster if I do it. I feel like this all the time. It's just faster if I do it. Especially, it was hard for me to hand off the tech ministry to Josh at first, not because I wanted to do it, but because he didn't have some of the knowledge on our specific technology. So a lot of that had to be taught. And a lot of it's just easier if I just turn it on and get it ready and do it. But now that I've given it to him, I have way more time on Sunday mornings to talk to people, to shake hands, and it means the world to me. Even though it was faster for me to do it initially, being able to hand it off to somebody else makes a world of difference. So sometimes we just think it's just faster if I do it, or no one can do it as well. Nobody's able to do it as well as I can. I heard somebody say one time, and I don't know if there's data to back this up, but they're basically like, if somebody can do it 80% as well as you, then delegate it. And I'm like, look, with some things, if you do it 50% as well as I do it, you can have it. Like, sometimes we just need to say it's okay if it takes a hit for a little bit, because it will get better. One of my prayers is that God's going to bring somebody along who can lead our worship team and our music team and stuff in a more permanent way. Look, if they're better than me, awesome. If they're not as good as me, totally fine. Like, let's get them in. We'll train, we'll develop. That's all okay. So don't get hung up on, I don't know if they'll do it as well.
You just said the worship leader has to be 50% as good as you?
Well, not necessarily that position.
Oh, okay.
The bummer is you're like 49. You were right on the cusp. I don't want to bother people is another trap that we can fall into. I've been there before many times where I'm just like, I hate asking people to do this. I still struggle with that one sometimes where I'm just like, I just don't want to bother people. Or I'll just fill the gap. I'll just take care of it. I don't want to bother anybody. I'll just fill the gap. But doing ministry alone feels productive, but it quietly kills multiplication. So see, it's not just that you can do it yourself. I'm not asking you just to come to this church and serve. I'm actually asking you to help me build leaders. Look, Kayla is she's a professional cleaner. She can do a better job cleaning our building than probably anybody else. It's what she does for a living. I don't want Kayla to just clean our building every week. Even if she said, I don't mind doing it. It's faster if I do it. Nobody can do it as well as me. I don't want to bother people. I'll just fill it. She could say all of these things, but the goal is not for Kayla to clean the building all the time. The goal is for Kayla to get other people involved so that they have a place to do ministry, they have a place to serve, and to build them up and to teach them and to train them. Doing ministry alone feels productive, but it quietly kills multiplication. In the book of Exodus, some of you are familiar with this story, maybe some of you are not, but Moses was working with the children of Israel, and his father-in-law, Jethro, one of my favorite Bible names, another great name for your next child, Jethro. If it's not Matthew, then Jethro is my next. There you go. Jethro. So Jethro, being the father-in-law to Moses, sat down with him and he said, Moses, you're doing too much. Moses was the judge for the people, and they were bringing all of their problems, all their struggles, they were bringing to him. And so what Moses was told by his father-in-law is that let me just read it to you. It's in Exodus chapter 18, starting in verse 13 through 23. So you can look this up later if you want to. The next day, Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood around Moses from morning till evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he said, what is this that you are doing for the people? Why do you sit alone and all the people stand around you from morning till evening? And Moses said to his father-in-law, because the people come to me to inquire of God. When they have a dispute, they come to me and I decide between one person and another, and I make them know the statutes of God and his laws. Moses' father-in-law said to him, what you are doing is not good. You and the people with you will certainly wear yourselves out, for the thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it alone. Now, obey my voice. I will give you advice, and God be with you. You shall represent the people before God and bring their cases to God, and you shall warn them about the statutes and the laws and make them know the way in which they must go, walk, and they must do. Moreover, look for able men from all the people, men who fear God, who are trustworthy and hate a bribe, and place such men over the people as chiefs of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens. I'm going to keep reading in just a second, but notice these are people that had qualifications. He didn't just say, go out and find some people. So we're going to talk about some of those qualifications in just a minute. And let them judge the people at all times. Every great matter they shall bring to you, but any small matter they shall decide themselves. So it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. If you do this, God will direct you, and you will be able to endure, and all this people also will go to their place in peace. So Moses is leading alone. He's settling every dispute. He's carrying all of the burden. He's making every decision. And Jethro goes to him and says, you can't continue to do this alone. I can't pastor Grace Valley Church alone, at least not successfully, at least not in a way that's going to have any real impact. The church will struggle. I won't be able to connect with everybody. It's not doable, especially not in this facility. I can't cut the grass, shovel the snow, run the technology, be in the nursery, teach the kids. I can't do it all. Even if I were capable, which I'm not, I can't possibly do all of the things. And so for our church to be successful and to move forward successfully, we have to develop other leaders because our capacity is only limited by our leadership ability. Our capacity is only limited by our leadership ability. So when I look at what's happening in our church, I want to make sure that we're reaching our highest capacity. I want to make sure that we're doing as much as possible. I want to make sure we're reaching as many people as God wants to bring across our path. And again, it's not about large numbers, it's about effective ministry. And so I want to be effective in the ministry to the best possible way we can. So I might be able to lead a group of, what do we have in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I might be able to lead 13 people. Great. But if I'm leading 13 people and all of you go out and lead 5, 10, 15, 20 people, now we've just multiplied our ability. So you're not just looking at, I don't want Kayla to just look at it and say, I'm leading these people to clean. I want her to kind of press into their lives a little bit. Like, hey, they haven't shown up a couple of times. Maybe there's something wrong. Maybe I could just, hey, how can I pray for you? I don't want Jonathan just to look at it as a security thing and it's just, we're just here to keep people safe. I want him to know the guys that are serving in that ministry, and he's saying, hey, it's been a few weeks since they've been here. I'm going to let Pastor Matt know that, hey, we're thinking about people. We care about the people that are serving with us, because I might not be able to see everybody all the time. In fact, Josiah came across somebody the other day who is a good photographer. He wants to get them helping out in our media team and stuff. This is a person I've not even met yet. And he's got a meeting set up with this person to be able to talk to them about their skill sets and things. Our capacity is limited by our leadership ability. I can only impact so many people. So I want to impact the people God's called me to impact as much as I can. And then I want to send you out to go impact more people. Healthy leaders don't just gather crowds, they grow leaders. Healthy leaders don't just gather crowds, they grow leaders. So your objective on Sunday is not just to be trying to get people to sign up for your ministry and then just be like, great, got them. Your goal should be, how can I get these people leading? I've told a few of you, I don't want you to stay in the ministry that you're in. I want you to lead yourself out of it. I want you to develop leaders that are able to take over, and then we'll put you into some other role and give you another leadership position. Because if you're able to build up leaders, you say, hey, I've trained so-and-so. They're capable of doing this now without me, and now I can go on and do something different, and I can serve in another capacity. Your greatest leadership win isn't what you do, it's who you develop. Your greatest leadership win isn't just what you do, it's who you develop. In Mark 3:14, it says about Jesus, he appointed 12 that they might be with him and that he might send them out. Jesus had the ability to do ministry by himself. He was God in the flesh, right? But he brought these men in to serve with him, and then he sent them out. He delegated preaching. He delegated healing. He sent them out 2 by 2. So even the Son of God chose multiplication over solo ministry. So then the question has to be, why do we struggle to build teams? Why do we struggle to build teams? Well, here are some common barriers, right? We struggle to build teams sometimes because we're a control freak. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands. The reason is we already know which ones of you are. You're not hiding it from us. We want it done our way. I like it this way. I don't want anybody to do it different than this. Now look, you can lead people to do it a certain way. That's great. That's one of the reasons we had to write all those SOPs, all those instructions, so that this is the way we expect things to be done, right? But sometimes people might do it a little different, or you might have to do a little more training. I don't want to build a team because I want it done a certain way. And I get that. I sometimes frustrate people because I want to give them the freedom to do it. I know that it has been joking today. I should have given more direction on the folders because Katie wanted so badly to make me happy with which she did. It's phenomenal. But she overkilled and it cost her way too much work. And I feel terrible. So my objective was just like, hey, just do it and do a good job with it. Whereas I could have said, hey, let's keep this a little more simple and it'll be great. So lesson learned for me, sometimes I don't want to control at all. But sometimes people want to control, and so we want it done our way. Sometimes it's perfectionism. We'd rather do it right than develop somebody else. It's frustrating. Like, Kayla, you have a way you're going to want things clean. So we're going to have to train people. You can't get mad at them. You can't get frustrated. You can't go to them and be like, why do you keep doing it wrong? I've shown you 15 times. They're people that we're doing life with. And so when they get it wrong, it's okay. Now, if they keep getting it wrong and we've tried to train, we might have to make an adjustment. And we'll talk about some of that stuff later. But as leaders, our goal is to build a team and put the perfectionism aside. Insecurity. Sorry, guys, I don't feel great, so if I pass out, I'll be fine. Insecurity. We worry someone might outshine us. Look, insecurity, I legitimately got fired from a church one time. I was there for 1 year, and I got fired from the church, and I never understood why. Years later, I talked to that pastor's good friend who knew there were problems there, and he eventually left the church. And that friend of his is a friend of mine. And I asked him, I said, hey, you were there years ago when all this went down. Like, why did I really get let go? And he said, Matt, you were one of many. He said, every time somebody grew in leadership, his insecurities and his wife's insecurities came into play, and he would fire anybody that started to have leadership. And I was like, this is a guy that in the circles I was in was fairly well known. Like James knows, at least knows the family, if he doesn't know this specific person, because he was in that same world I was in. And so insecurities could be like, oh, I would rather do it because I don't want somebody to do it better than me. That's not a good reason. I would be thrilled to have people on our team. I am thrilled. Tim is way better at spreadsheets than I am. Like, that doesn't bother me. That doesn't make me insecure. That thrills me. Like, I need somebody. James, and I've told him this to his face, is way better at personal interactions and connections on Sunday mornings with people. Whereas my introversion is something I have to fight against. He's like walking up to people like he's known them his whole life, and he's good at it. So I could let my insecurities get in the way and be like, hey, James, when are you going to go pastor your own church? People might like you more than me. And I'm just kind of like, James... And I'm like, James, you do you, because this is great that somebody's good at this in our church. Another one is exhaustion. We're just too tired to train other people. I'd rather do it myself because I've just got so much on my plate, I don't want to deal with it. So these are problems. But leadership is about reproducing. It's about reproducing what you do and who you are. So we've got to get the shift from being a doer to a developer. So I'm not asking you to be a coach. I chose that name specifically. I chose the title coach because that is your role. You're not just a doer, you're a developer, okay? So there's two types of ministry coaches. There's the doer, all right? So the doer, and you can see this in your notes there, the doer fills gaps. They solve problems, carries the weight alone, and often burns out. They're just a doer. And man, it is really difficult sometimes as a leader to stop and recognize that somebody is such a doer that you've abused them. I legitimately had to tell somebody recently, I need you to stop for a little while. Because they've just been doing and doing and doing and doing and doing. And it was like, I realized that's a problem. And so sometimes as leaders, it's just it's easier to be a doer and just say, I'm just gonna take over this. I'm not gonna bother anybody else, I'm just gonna do it. But we need to move from doers to developers. So there's the doer, there's the developer. The developer raises leaders. The developer shares ownership. The developer multiplies strengths. And the developer builds sustainability. Okay? Raises leaders, shares ownership, multiplies strengths, and builds up sustainability. We're training other people to be able to do these things. Look, if your team can't function... Oh, did you get all that? There you go. I'm trying to move quickly for you. All good? Yeah. If your team can't function without you, you're not leading, you're controlling. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean right off the get-go. When you're first developing your team, they need you. But at some point, it should not be, well, we don't know what to do. We're waiting for the leader to get here. You should be able to be sick and everything still runs just fine. There may be a little bit of confusion. They may have to figure some things out. They may have to look at the SOPs again. That's fine. But what I'm saying is, like, it shouldn't be where you have to do everything. As coaches, your win is not running the ministry flawlessly or filling every role yourself or being the hero. Your win is identifying people, equipping people, encouraging people, and then releasing those people to go out and do ministry. When we lead well, ministry stops depending on us and starts growing beyond us. Look, for 6 years, I preached almost every Sunday here because there wasn't anybody to lean on. I'm so grateful now that our church can be healthier because There's 3 other guys in this room that have already preached, and hopefully we'll have more and we'll develop others. When we lead well, ministry, like this church shouldn't have to depend on me. People have asked me, like, over the years, do you feel like your church has kind of made it? Like, do you feel like you're a healthy church? And the point where I truly felt like it was the day I felt like if I got in a car accident and could no longer pastor, the church would continue. And that happened a little while back. And I was like, I feel like we're there. Like, that's neat that the ministry doesn't depend on me. Now, am I the leader? Am I the one that God's called to do that? Right? Yes, of course. But if something were to happen to me, I don't think Grace Valley Church just stops. It can continue to go, and God will continue to bless it. So imagine what God could do in our church if every one of us as a coach didn't just serve, but worked on building teams. So on Sunday when we have volunteers, we're not just looking for people to fill slots, we're looking for people that we can develop, people that we can train, people that we can release into ministry, people that we can do this with. We could see more people get discipled. We could see more kids reached. I mean, if we have more people trained to teach kids and that are equipped, our kids aren't going to... There was a time where, and many of you were here for it, there was a time where periodically we would just have to cancel kids ministry. We just didn't have anybody to run it. There would be periods of time where we just didn't have kids ministry. And those are difficult times. I believe by the grace of God, I think those times are over. But we need more people trained. We need more people that are equipped in our kids program. We need more people trained on how to welcome guests. We have a whole team of people getting put together right now by Jill to just look at the future of our church. And if we're going to invite people to our church, what does that look like? We've identified 6 pillars that need to be evaluated in our church. And so she's sitting down with the creative team here over the next several months and looking at each of those pillars and saying, okay, how can we do this well? Because we want to be a church that is successful. I've said from the beginning, my strength is not systems. I'm a big picture visionary guy. You want vision? I got you. You want to know how to get there? Ask Tim. Tim's the step-by-step kind of guy. And when we sit down, Tim always loves my vision. That's one of the reasons I love having him as part of the team, is because he never looks at it and goes, I just don't like that vision. He's never said that. He has always said, that's great. And then he starts to ask really good practical questions. You want to lead this? Do you want to lead this? Just kidding. But what's great is people on this team, and James has become this, and Dee Dee does some of this, where when I have some vision and some excitement, some things I want to see accomplished, they're asking good, healthy questions so that we can do it successfully. Now we're actually trying to get ahead of the game, and we're putting systems in place, and we've hired a pastor coach, a church coach that I meet with every week. I'll be meeting with for an hour and a half again tomorrow, where we talk through, we'll discuss this meeting tomorrow. He's looked at these notes. He knows what we're talking about and has worked with me in a lot of detail on some of this stuff. And I'm excited to even have people, like Jill's got skill sets that are phenomenal that she's going to bring to the table to help bring all this together for us. So there's a lot going on even behind the scenes to help all this. But one of the big parts of this is, I don't feel good. Shut up, everybody. One of the big parts of this is just everybody in this room saying, I'm going to step up. I'm going to be a leader. I'm not just a doer. I'm a developer. We don't build teams because we need help. We build teams because the mission is too big for any one of us. We don't build teams because we need help. We build teams because the mission is too big for any one of us. Now, we do need help. Not denying that. We need more people to step up, but the mission is too big for any one of us.